There's been a house tour video that was created by V that has gotten people extremely emotional. We have people having conversations about weight loss and the members potentially losing too much weight, specifically with RM, and then we also have V getting some concerns about that as well. So hey dumplings, this is Dave Josiah. Let's get into it. So V recently went on a live stream and decided to give a little house tour of his new place. And I think this is one of the first times he's ever done this. People really don't know what it looked like, and we got to see how beautiful it actually was. During the beginning of the stream, he was sitting in the front of what appeared to be an atrium. I mean, I can definitely say I'm a little jealous here. That absolutely looks gorgeous. And I would imagine having a house or an apartment like that would definitely bring joy every single moment that he is in it or he looks at it. So of course he deserves that, and I'm very glad that he can be happy. And also a sign to the haters who hate him that they probably don't live like that, and the more hate you give him, the more he's able to live like this. There was a clip that existed previously that showed V and his dog in the hallway. This was Yeontan. He died on December 2nd, 2024, and some people were talking about the clip prior to this death and comparing that same hallway now to where it's empty. And some people were saying that something in the house was missing, and this got people really upset, and I totally understand. V dedicated an entire album to him, which was so beautiful and probably was a great parting gift for him. But we also felt like we knew the dog really well too, because we got to experience the album as well as see so many clips and videos of him. Those problems that the dog had felt real to us and felt like we had another dog as well. Ultimately, he was really sick and he either had to be put down or died peacefully. I don't know if that was ever clarified. And he is now in a better place. Hopefully in a place where he doesn't have the same physical ailments that he had in the living world and can rest easy somewhere else. It's often better to think of it that way than to think of it as a loss, I personally believe. This is really depressing, and it got the community crying. There were so many tweets saying that when they saw the house tour, they were devastated, and then of course the tweets bringing this up to those who didn't even think about it were also extremely devastated. This is tough, right? Because should the internet not bring up these things when they see it or catch it? And if they do, then they obviously risk bringing the mood down and being really depressed and sad. But I think it's really good to bring it up because then we're reminded of this amazing and super cute dog that existed, and it shows the dog, if the dog knew, that we are not forgetting the memory or the mark that he has made on the world, and he has passed on to the afterlife. He will have the ability to know how we feel about him and all that stuff, or potentially even how famous he was, right? Because a dog definitely does not understand the concept of being famous. It must be strange, but at the same time, it must not be right, because it's not like they can understand what we're saying, and if any time someone comes up to them and says hi or pets them, they just think that that's what people do. But I think it is something cute that I wanted to share, and hopefully you guys can carry on the memory of him. And hopefully you guys can carry the memory of him. For the next topic, we're going to be talking about weight and weight loss. So a little bit of a trigger warning here on that. There has been genuine concern over the weight loss that the members have been experiencing post-military. So the album is a little less than a month away. There has been some genuine concern over weight loss that the members have been experiencing post-military. So the album is a little less than a month away, and the boys are preparing for that comeback. They're preparing to be on tour. They're preparing to do a lot of shows. They're definitely practicing a lot. One of the things that goes into prepping for a comeback, but it is a huge factor, which is getting into shape. However, it was a little bit shocking to hear that the boys were getting into shape despite the fact that they had just come out of the military, meaning they were obviously quite literally in shape. What were they doing to be in more shape? And what does that even look like, right? Artem posted a photo showing his weight loss and just what he has been doing. Some people felt like it was a little bit extreme, and they felt like he might be on his way to the hospital now. And there had been some criticism about posting even stuff like this, which is if you're going to lose weight or do any of that stuff, perhaps don't share it publicly, because then it encourages people to have an eating disorder or just reminds them that weight is something that they should be thinking about, which can be triggering for a lot of people, and rightfully so. It also encourages people to take more extreme matters that might cause them to go to the hospital due to extreme dieting. Arm specified on Reverse comments that he was about 83.8 kilograms when he was in the military and was a sergeant. This is about 184 pounds, which likely would have been mostly muscle mass, I would imagine. And then he showed his current weight, which is around 68.8 kilos. This is down to 151 pounds, nothing too crazy. I mean, that is a lot of weight to lose, but 151 pounds, I think for Asians would not be considered super skinny. Like, it's not considered something that would be super unhealthy for them. If he was down to like 118, I'd be a little bit concerned, right? But I have no idea how far or how much more down he wants to go, because it seems like he wants to keep working out. He didn't say anything about this, or he didn't say that he wants to do this, but that's just like a theory. I don't know. Some people were really concerned about this. In fact, a lot of people were really concerned about this just given how fast he lost the weight. He was discharged in mid last year, but he likely didn't start working out or trying to get more in shape for the comeback until, let's say, maybe 2 or 3 months ago when the album was in full swing and that conversation was happening. Again, this is just a theory. I have no idea. So losing that much weight in that amount of time is a lot, but it's nothing too crazy. I mean, some people were concerned about malnutrition, some people were concerned about potential hospital visits and stuff like that due to the amount of weight being lost and potentially coming from not eating and that sort of stuff, but it is definitely possible to lose that weight that quickly. And they have people like nutritionists as well as doctors who can monitor them if they were to go to any extreme dieting things, which in this case, I don't necessarily believe is what's happening. And this is a side note as to why this is such an issue when posting stuff like this, is because if you're not a celebrity, you don't have access to the same doctors and nutritionists to get you to lose that weight in a way that doesn't hurt you. Now, the actual question that I think a lot of people might have is, why did they do this? Because as I mentioned earlier, they likely were coming out of the military already in shape. There's almost no way that you can leave the military without being in shape, because you're eating and literally working out every day for 8 to 9 hours a day. This is more exercise than people who are in shape do on the day-to-day. But in my opinion, it's very different to have an athletic build and one that's a little bit bulkier for the army and for battle than to have a body that might be good for dancing. Typically, a slimmer build is going to be best for that, as well as you want to be able to move freely. If you're really bulky in terms of muscles, then you might not be able to bend or to contort your body in specific ways. So that is definitely a theory as to why they might be doing this. And I don't know if that's the truth. That's just my assumption, because I have to make some conclusion out of all this, right? Some people have also been concerned about V from what I saw online. The other members didn't put their specific weight, but they did put how much they were working out. So people noticed that V lost about 460 calories. Now, I did search this up. This would require moderate to intense workouts. So he would be running or walking pretty fast. You would essentially have to be running about 3.5 miles per hour. But obviously maintaining that pace for an hour is what's really difficult. I think most people could do that for like 30 minutes maybe, but obviously afterwards it's going to be a little bit tough. Some people are taking side-by-side photos of when V came out of the military to when he did the live stream recently for the house tour, and they noticed that his face slimmed down significantly. Now, obviously each of the members are building their body and how they look differently because they have different goals, and they're going to build their body the way that it's going to be best for them. Some people can be skinnier and dance for hours on stage, and other people might need to be a little bit bigger so that they have the energy to be able to do that. But it looks like V mostly just slimmed down his face from what I can tell. I don't know because I can't see his body, right? But people were definitely concerned about this. Now, if he's mostly doing cardio, because I think like he showed him on a treadmill burning 460 calories, then weight loss on the face makes sense, because then he would be mostly just working out cardio, and that's typically really good to slim down the face and stuff. We don't know what type of things he was taking or drinking in the military. For example, if he was taking a lot of hydration drinks like Gatorade or those type of things, they're typically filled with electrolytes, which consist of sodium, and obviously there's a very high chance of him taking hydration products because of the amount of exercising and sweating he'd be doing in the military. Those things can puff up the face, right? And if he's taking in sugar, because it is good to have sugar can help things be absorbed into the bloodstream. So if he's doing more of those things, then he would have his face puff up in the military, and then he might be depriving himself of those things now that he's out of the military. So all these things have to be kept in mind before making too much of a judgment, right? I definitely think the concerns for RM and V are totally valid, and of course people are always going to be concerned if the boys are eating right and taking care of themselves, and not just trying to look good for the camera, but obviously that doesn't always mean that they're healthy if they look good in front of the camera. But I think in this case they haven't crossed anything too crazy or intense, and they seem fine, right? I think they're kind of not at that limit yet where there should be this huge concern. Let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure to check out Patreon. I'll leave a link at the top of the description. Thank you so much for this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.